This is the most consistent I have ever felt happy. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional.
Ew. We crumble.
You're talking to me like I'm killing you.
I remember. So depressed, I think got out of it. You're awesome.
I know. I'm starting. In an early morning meditation, about an hour in, I could see myself in the center of my mind, as if I were looking at myself through the eyes of someone holding a snow globe. I could see how even while in my meditation, where I sat while connecting to God, I was still wrapped up in my own little world. I could see myself from a higher awareness, and I fell in love with who I saw. I saw a woman who was showing up for herself, who until this day believes in the magic of possibilities. A woman who loves herself so much that she gives herself the freedom to believe in more for herself and for her life. And I just imagined shaking that snow globe to see all of the snowflakes, the sparkles that dazzled around her in that tiny little world of hers. I could see that I had finally built a home within myself, a home that I can go to when times felt tough and when I wanted to expand my awareness far beyond what I could see to find the answers that lie deep within me. For months, I had struggled, but time and time again, I would sit down, close my eyes, and go within. The more I did this, the more that my home felt safe and comfortable. The more that I began to trust what was inside myself far beyond anything else. It was only a few months prior that I used to be terrified of sitting down to meditate. I was terrified of what would come up and what I would find. I did not feel safe in my own home, in my own body, and I had really bad anxiety and depression. I had intrusive thoughts, and at times I felt paralyzed by fear. I was honestly at my rock bottom, and as much as I wanted to manifest things, I felt like it was all getting worse. I was allowing depression to eat me alive. I had tried everything. And to be honest, these meditations were my last resort. Sitting down with myself in meditation, so simple. So I began with Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations. I highly recommend his meditations. They have seriously changed my life, and I recommend buying the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, so that you fully understand what you're doing with these meditations. I had done meditations before in the past, but never like these. Going to the void felt scary. I was going very deep into my mind, the deepest I had ever gone, and it was almost like I didn't trust myself to be alone that deep with myself, with all of the emotions and all of the feelings that I had been running from for years. So the first month was really difficult, probably the hardest. It felt very unnatural. When I would conjure up as much as I could of those elevated emotions, all of the old emotions would purge out. My chest would burn from the explosion of energy, and a lot of emotions came up for me. At times, I wanted to run, and the old me would have, but I knew the new me would not give up. I knew that the only way out was through, and that on the days that I felt really bad, I had to spend more time meditating, more time feeling uncomfortable, until I made the uncomfortable comfortable, like Dr. Joe says. I will never forget the day I was about to throw in the towel. My anxiety was alarmingly high, and I was on the verge of what felt like a major breakdown. It was like all of my fears and all of the negative emotions had just rushed to the surface all at once. At this time, I was meditating 2 to 3 times a day, and I meditated about 5 times that day to release the emotions. I swear my depression broke that day the way that you break a fever, and I haven't felt the same since. After that day, things started to look up for me. I went from surviving to creating, and that was only the beginning. From then on, I had to learn how to stay disciplined and consistent. I wanted to devote my time to myself the same way I had given and devoted so much of myself to other people. I wanted to fall in love with myself the way that I had fallen in love with other people. The natural progression and momentum that builds when you allow yourself to go deeper and deeper. When you lean into trust, knowing all of the risks and still choose to fall anyway. For once, I wanted to choose myself, to get to know myself, to commit to loving myself even when it felt hard. And that's when the magic started happening. That's when things started moving. For a while, my life had felt like I had been put stuck on pause. And the day I decided to go all in with myself was the day the universe pressed play. My outer world immediately began to reflect what I had been imagining and wishing for such a long time. It was when I said, okay, I don't care anymore. I love me. I'm whole and complete, and I'm just going to be happy. I'm okay with or without the things that I want. And that's when many things that I wanted began to flow into my life. I decided to just love myself that day no matter what, and to put happiness first before anything else. So, what I've learned. I believe that the universe is only showing us all the ways that we can love ourselves more. When we're being shown the opposite in the reflection of our world, we're being called to fill in those gaps and holes and fulfill those needs within ourselves. So I began fulfilling my own needs. I stopped putting so much focus on the things that I wanted to manifest in my meditation and more on who I wanted to be, what she looked and felt like, and I began to feel into her, to practice what her feeling states were, to embody her, and eventually I became more like her, and I became like her really fast. I really practiced her until it kind of just settled into my new state of being, and then I began to take those feelings out into my day. I used Dr. Joe's mind movie method and chose 3 songs that made me feel amazing, and I would play those songs while tuning into the feelings behind what I wanted to experience. So for me, that was happiness, love, bliss, and abundance. I would imagine my mind movie while listening to the songs, and eventually I just let go of the images and kept practicing the feeling because that was what was important to me. I wanted to feel those feelings as much as possible. I would blast these songs in my car, remembering the feeling. I would play them in my headphones while I practiced walking and truly embodying the feeling, basically teaching my body how to be happy no matter what, wiring new pathways in my brain and releasing those feel-good chemicals in my body until my body accepted them as my new homeostasis. Now, when you're teaching your body how to feel differently, it really does take practice. There were days when I didn't feel all that good, but I would watch myself and my behavior and my thoughts. I became much more self-aware on those days to sort of take note. I wouldn't beat myself down. I would allow myself to feel and move in these states while I watched and kindly just redirected myself to thinking and feeling better. I would meditate more because, I realized the only way out was through, and for me, through happened in meditation. And so, it's only been a few months of committing to this daily meditation practice, and I feel like an entirely different person. This is the most consistent I have ever felt happy. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional.
Ew. Recording. You're talking to me like I can't. So depressed, I think got out of it. I know. I'm starting. Good. I did not expect to cry.
God, I'm so sensitive. So it's been only a few months of committing to this daily meditation practice, and I feel like an entirely different person. This is the most consistent I have ever felt happy. I would describe myself as a happy person, and when I start to feel sad, it's just a feeling. It's temporary. I don't define myself as sad or depressed anymore.
Sorry, I laugh when I get emotional.
Now, I know this is a momentum, and I will continue to build upon it each and every day. What I found when old emotions come up to the surface, or even when I randomly will have like a mini little breakdown, is that it's actually more of a mental breakthrough. I actually get excited when I'm faced with internal adversity because it's an opportunity for me to transform something big. Sometimes it's really big and it can be really hard, but the other side is so worth it. Not to mention, I have manifested a lot. I will share more in the future with what I've manifested with these meditations, but for now, I want to keep them private to just enjoy them for myself. But I've been blown away by this work, and for the first time in my life, I really haven't given up on something. These meditations have changed my life and have empowered me in ways I didn't know were possible. This is coming from someone who has tried everything. everything to heal. It was when I stopped looking outside of myself for healing and paid attention and recreated the world within myself where everything shifted. And so I hope that this video inspires you to start a meditation practice. I highly recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations. And I hope it inspires you to explore your resistance to change, to explore your fears and connecting with yourself. And I hope you still choose to show up and connect and realize that your inner world is the most important world to tend to. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys liked it. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.